Hi, my name is Daniel Posney, and this is called Shifting Perspectives, where we meet for about 10 to 15 minutes every Monday morning. And the topic is different every time. And the topic this morning is about anxiety. And I was just looking at my past videos, and I have done a really great video about anxiety, and it's called Healing Anxiety. You can find it on YouTube or on Castbox. If you look under Self-Mastery Soup on Castbox, you'll find it there. If you look under Shifting Perspectives on YouTube, you'll find it there. So some great information about kind of the ins and outs and what fors about anxiety. But I thought maybe I'd touch on some things that I didn't touch on before, and maybe in a little bit different way. I guess I'll start off by talking about anxiety from my perspective, being what they call a highly sensitive person. And that's just somebody that is very much in tune, aware with emotions and feelings and energies for good and bad. And you can feel the sadness and the anger of yourself and other people. You can feel the energies or the emotions of the world. And it kind of goes on a scale with different people on how extensive or how strong it is. I don't think I'm at the top of the scale, but I'm definitely, I watch a movie and I start crying at the most silly things, or I'm talking to someone in a session and I'm overcome with emotion for them, compassion for them, and it just comes out. And I've learned how to see that as a superpower for myself, because it really helps me to really connect with people. But the other side of that is sometimes I can start creating anxiety in my life, and the anxiety comes from feeling overwhelmed. So let's see, anxiety, the opposite of anxiety is certainty, let's say. And there's sometimes when I'm not very certain that I can do this task or take care of all these tasks. And so I start creating overwhelm. And I know that it comes from a place of my childhood that I put a lot on myself, or something was put a lot on me. And I started getting stressed out about something. And it became like a little trauma moment in my life. And it's like I can always tap back into that in my adult life. Something happens where I start feeling that same little energy. Doesn't have to be the same thing, but I start feeling anxious. I start getting anxiety and worry. And I need to I have certain mechanisms that I need to put in place to come out of that anxiety or that overwhelm. So I guess I'll talk about that a little bit. First of all, the anxiety is a completely mind thing. It's your mind being overwhelmed with the data that's being received, or it's tapping into a certain trauma condition that you're reconnecting with. It's not something of the body. It's kind of the body gets a message from the brain. So first you've got the heart, which gets the data from the environment. The heart sends that data to the brain. The brain analyzes that data and then checks its data banks to see what it makes sense with and what it can correlate that to, and then sends that data out to the body to respond in your systems to help negotiate that. And the way that I feel it, most people feel it, is when the anxiety trigger comes in, I start breathing differently. My heart starts beating differently. So it's telling my body to do something. So I always thought it was my body was doing something and then my brain responded to that. But the way I understand it now is actually that the heart has its own brain, feeds it to the brain feeds it to the body. So really get down to the chase, the whole thing about anxiety is that we're stuck in our mind. Right now in this anxiety, we're in our mind, and we're in the past or we're in the future, and we're not here right now. If we were here right now, we wouldn't have the anxiety, because the anxiety is this going to happen to me again, or what's the future hold kind of thing. So it's not really in the present moment. So what we can do is we can start to practice that present moment. And I know that, so if you're going to start thinking about, well, how do I do that? And I didn't become this other person or something. But I started to realize that I didn't need to be a monk or a completely different person. I just need to practice different things that would help me to pull back from the overwhelm that I was feeling. So some of those practices are just, for me, it was setting boundaries with myself. And, if we really dive into this, I'm just going to dive into myself with you right now. The reason why that was, so let's start at the top. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling anxiety. And I start putting in these things that I start getting triggers, and I may lash out to people with emotions or certain reactions. But if I kind of check down, if I start to scale down that and start to look at that, what is the overwhelm coming from? It's coming from like, I don't know if I can deal with this. I don't know if I can handle all these tasks that I'm being given. I don't know if I can do this job or whatever the thing is. And then where does that come from? That leads me into, I'm not really feeling worthy. And then, okay, where does that come from? So you start to look at these things, and you're almost like a detective. And it's actually, I know this sounds weird, but it's almost like it's a little fun to go into that. And the more that you dive into it, just within a couple minutes, just to dive in and say, okay, where does that come from? Where does that come from? What does that, how does that make me feel? Or what's the belief behind that? It only takes 2 to 5 minutes to go into it. But what you're done, the benefit, the payoff of that is really big. Now it's not such a unknown thing that you've got to take some medication or take some kind of alcohol or some drug or something to work on the symptom of it instead of the cause. So now it just becomes more empowering. Okay, now I know where this comes from. So let me just check in a minute, just see exactly where mine comes from. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling anxiety, I'm thinking about that I'm going to have to do something, it's going to be a lot, I start feeling anxious about that. It's making me feel like I'm not able to this, I'm not qualified, I'm not worthy to do this. Now I'm kind of going to my mind, and I know that this doesn't come from my adult life. This doesn't come from just here right now. This is coming from somewhere. I know it's got to come from a time in my life between birth and 8 years old. So I'm focusing on that. Well, I'm an identical twin. So one thing that I can tap into is maybe there's this like primal struggle, this thing where, you get these a group of puppies, and the littlest one has got to struggle to get his food. And maybe there's something in that about me struggling to get fed, or thinking that I'm not going to get fed. And then if I go forward in time, if I look at myself at 5, 6 years old, maybe some little thing happened that caused me to feel unworthy or not enough, or maybe I was in first grade or kindergarten, and a task was given to me. Here's something that I can remember. When I was going into the 4th grade, and accidentally I went into the 5th grade class, and they were teaching stuff that I was way over my head because I haven't got the groundwork that led up to what they were teaching. So I felt like really a lot of anxiety, like I should know this stuff. And I think I actually missed the class. The thing where you go through the months of the year to find out, to know, to remember which ones have 28, 30, 31 days in the month. I missed that day. So I missed the day when they use your hand and your knuckles to, go through this process of which ones had those numbers. And so I didn't know that for a long time. And there's a couple things that I missed out on. And I think that was part of it. I know it's got to come before that also, but that's at least one of those things where, we're in that age of very, very vulnerable. What was that? So that was like 8, 9, 10 years old. Man, that's a very vulnerable time. You're just trying to find out, what you're supposed to learn and be smart enough to be in the class and not be held back and all those things that come up for kids. So I know that that's probably something that comes up every once in a while, even though I'm a very capable, intelligent adult that knows what he's doing most times. Those things can be triggered when the right environment is in place. So what I need to do to help myself in that and realize that because I'm a highly sensitive person, an HSP, I need to look at the world and create my world a little bit differently than everyone else. I may be able to go out and I can do so many things. I've taught myself how to do so many things. And yet I can, in the past, I could overwhelm myself with doing a lot of things. Because I like to be involved in a lot of things, I would do a lot of things. Because I love people and I want to help people, I would put myself out there to a lot of people. And so you can see how they would automatically go into this overwhelm and overcommitting myself. So that has been one thing that I was been working on, is overcommitting myself. So the thing that I need to do is make sure that I set good boundaries on myself. And what was a hard thing for me to do is to love myself first. And I know that's a big one for a lot of people, but I needed to pull back from going out there in the world and realize that, some people are going to love me and some people are not going to love me no matter what I did. So I needed to start putting boundaries on myself and just realizing that I have certain needs before I go out there and go save the world. I need to take care of myself. And that was something to get used to. But as a person that's a sensitive and empath, it's imperative that that person knows what their own needs are before they go out and feel the world. So I don't know if I can say that any stronger, but you really need to take care of your own needs. I know it sounds and feels like it may be selfish, but if you're gonna feel the world like you do, you need to pull back and know what your own boundaries and what your needs are. So the way that I work with my own anxieties and overwhelm and overcommitting myself is I started years ago to start making decisions that were only exciting to me for the most part. I would say 99% of the time. I know there's some things that we have some obligations that we still need to commit to, but for the most part, the session work, the retreat work, the things that I commit to as far as my personal life and going out there in the world, I really need to focus on what's exciting to me. And that is something that I need to feel into and feel if it's something that serves me and that is really exciting. And then I go into that thing without anxiety because I've already checked into it. If I'm having anxiety about something, it's because I've slipped off my track of feeling into the things that I am excited about or not excited about. And I can look at my schedule and I can go, yep, I kind of overdid it. Like right now, my schedule is pretty full this week. Everything just kind of fell into the schedule and it's pretty full. And I know that I'm the one that created that. And that's the one thing that really helps me to pull back on overcommitting myself is to realize that I'm the one who said yes to all those things. It's a good thing that I love what I do, but I said yes to all those. And so now I don't have much time in there to just relax and pull back. So I see it and then I recognize it. Okay, next week, I need to actually schedule time for myself. Schedule just doing nothing. Schedule going to the pool or schedule lunch if I have to, because it can just kind of pile on and pile on and pile on. So let me think about this, what the next thing is here. See, what I'm doing right now is really helps me to work with anxiety. I just close my eyes and I just take a moment, and you just need to be patient. And I just need to feel into this and see what's next. Yeah, go out on the land, go out on the outdoors, go in. And then even if it's raining, go out in the rain. Just let the rain hit your face and just soak your body. Go out and lie on a rock. Go and jump in the creek or jump in the lake. Go for a bicycle ride. All those things that take you out of the anxieties of the world and the speed of the world. And That's something that I need to schedule on my calendar. This is a time where I'm just going hiking for myself, not for any clients or anything, just for myself, so I can go out and be out there in nature. This is really helpful to me to remind me that I need to do this stuff. And I guess the question that comes up for me and for a lot of people that are in the same vibration is the question: what are you doing to create an environment that doesn't cultivate anxiety? Or the opposite way, what are you doing to that in your environment that cultivates anxiety? What are you doing that helps to manifest anxiety? Do you keep your schedule so full you don't have any time for yourself? Do you eat foods and drink things that cause you that intake a lot of sugar? Do you watch movies that are, lots of energy and excitement and violence, and there's no stillness and presence in the movies that you watch? The music that you listen to, is it really crazy kind of chaotic music, or is it really soothing and heart-opening music? The conversations that you have, are you having conversations that just build up anxiety? You're just talking about a bunch of stressful topics, or do you talk about things that really make you feel good? So you can start to really look at your life and see how the way that with the things that you say yes to really help to manifest more anxiety. So it's kind of a funny thing, the way that we humans are, is, we complain about that we're anxiety, and this is so stressful for me. Well, look at your life. Look at what you do first thing in the morning. Look how much time you spend on Facebook, or how much time you spend in front of movies that really cause you to stress out. Look how much time that you spend in negative conversations or negative topics. If they don't have a direct effect on your life right here, right now, what the hell? So, that's something that I really need to do in my life, is that if it wasn't completely right in front of me, I would have compassion for it, but I don't need to talk about it. I don't need to spend my energy on it. And what I'm talking about is for those people that are sensitive to those energies, like myself, it doesn't serve me. And I know there's lots of people that can be out there and involved in all that stuff, and it doesn't really affect them, or they don't complain about it. But for me, for the work that I do, I need to have my frequency of consciousness and my presence really clear. So that kind of stuff I can't engage in. And, when I'm talking to someone and they start bringing up that this shooting happened over here, or this craziness happened with the president here, I don't engage in that. I know I may upset some people, and my work is how I feel about upsetting people. But they just need to realize that I need to, well, they don't need to realize that, but my work is just to be centered in my own self and not be drawn in with that stuff, which is really easy to be drawn into. One of the things that happens in sessions is that I'll ask someone about how they felt about their mother or their father or childhood or something, and they'll go off on this long tangent about all the details of the thing. And I'm really have been learning about how to pull someone back to just the question that I answered, and not go into a long story about it. And what I'll get sometimes is, well, you asked me to tell you about my childhood and my father. And yeah, but we don't need to, I've got it. So let me look at some little tips here on how to come out of anxiety, or how to cultivate a life that has less anxiety. So one of the things I talked about is exercise, getting your butt out there in nature, and the foods, the blood sugar stabilizers, no fried foods, caffeine, sugar, alcohol, or at least not that much. It's just start to bring that down as much as you can. Seaweed, whole grain, blueberries, B12 and B6, flaxseed, chamomile tea, nuts, pumpkin seeds, edamame, meditation, of course, form close-knit human bonds with people, so you can kind of just, and not those ones that just bitch about what's going on in the world, but just those ones that really speak with an authentic heart. Seek laughter and fun. That just releases things when you laugh. Release emotions somehow without judging. So breath work, sound healing, doing something really powerful like a long bike ride or surfing or whatever the thing is to release your energy. Jump up and down. That releases energy too. Listen to inspiring and relaxing music, breathing exercises, breath work. Drink great water all day. So make sure that you're completely hydrated. I know you hear that in so many different venues, there's so many different ways, but that will help you to feel better. Question your fearful thoughts. So one of the big things is that one of the processes is pulling yourself out of the one that is having the thoughts. So there's something behind that, but you've gotten so used to calling it you and being wrapped up into it. So question that, start to become empowered by asserting yourself and saying, wait a minute, this is a thought that's been held for so long and I need to investigate this. Be deliberate in what you focus on. So that's just me feeling into what I'm excited about and deciding to either say no to that or say yes to that. And if I keep on doing that, I have less and less anxiety in my life. I think that's all I got for now, except for just watch that other video. I think it's 24 minutes called Healing Anxiety. You can find it on YouTube. Or if you're a subscriber to Castbox, you can find it on there as well. So thank you so much for listening, watching. Have a wonderful day. I love you. Thank you. Bless you.